I am Paula Caballero. I'm the Senior Director for Environment and Natural Resources at the World Bank Group. The main challenge is making sure that we don't go for short-term results. The transformation that we need to bring about is a transformation that will deliver over decades. In order to be able to be long-term, we need to have the right planning processes in place. That's the first. And that means having the right kind of information, the data points that we can project long-term trends and do the backward casting that's needed to understand what are some of the endpoints we need to arrive at. The second aspect is to work at all scales, because there tends to be a very sort of top-down approach oftentimes to planning and to decision-making processes. We need to be able to work with communities, with cities, with rural planners, so that their needs can be understood, not just in terms of where they are right now, but what we're going to do to avoid tomorrow's poverty. And a third aspect to that, which is really critical, is to make room for innovation. How can we factor in space for innovation in technology, in how we communicate, and how we educate, and how we build awareness, and the kind of synergies between science and policy? That's something that is a very positive driver of change and of growth. And that's part of that long look, of that long-term approach. So the first is to understand how these projects can fit into a longer planning scenario or a longer planning horizon. The second is that we need to be able to really better frame what is the business value proposition of the interventions. The ability to really frame an understanding of what is the rate of return of investment is very poorly framed. People don't have a capacity to do that. And until they are able to do that, we're not going to see that resurgence of bottom-up projects that we need, because yes, we need massive investment in solar energy, but we also need massive cumulative aggregate investments at local level. And I think the final is really for all governments to put in place the right governance structures. You need to have good land tenure, you need to have the right kinds of incentives, you need to have the right kind of fiscal and tax structures. And until and unless you do that, it's going to be very difficult in some of the countries where the most investment is needed, that private investment to complement the public investment. It will be very difficult to mobilize that kind of investment in those contexts.